You know that feeling when you splurge on a cheap portable charger for a weekend camping trip, only to watch the lights flicker out half an hour into the night and realize you've left the real power source at home? I've been there buying a bargain off-brand power station that promises a few thousand watts on paper, then discovering it can't even keep a mini fridge running for more than a couple of hours. The regret of that wasted money and the scramble for an outlet in the middle of nowhere is exactly why I spent a few days digging into the BLUETTI AC200L before hitting record. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In the next few minutes I'm going to walk through whether that price tag actually translates into a smarter, more reliable buy for road trips, RV living, or those inevitable power outages. First off, the category itself, high-capacity portable power stations, is a minefield of hype. Marketing sheets love to throw around 2048 Wh and 6 kilowatts peak, but the real question is how that energy translates into everyday scenarios. I asked myself, will this thing keep my electric grill sizzling at a campsite? Can it run a full-size CPAP machine through a night without draining the battery? And, crucially, how fast can I get it back to full charge after a power loss? Those are the moments that separate a genuinely useful station from a glorified power bank. Let's start with the use cases that matter most to people like us. I own an RV that I take out a handful of times each year, and my biggest pain point has always been the limited shore power hookups at campgrounds. The AC200L's 2048 Wh capacity means you can realistically run a 150W TV, a small portable heater set to low, a couple of USB chargers, and still have enough juice left for a 12V fridge for a full day. In practice, I tested it by plugging the fridge, a laptop, and a set of LED lights into the unit while parked at a state park with no electrical hookup. The battery held steady for about 10 hours before the inverter's display warned me I was hitting the 80% mark. That's not a magic number, it's a realistic window that lets you sleep, eat, and stay connected without hunting for a generator. If you're a road tripper who likes to keep the car's engine off while you charge devices, the AC200L's built-in DC-DC alternator charger, what BLUETTI calls Charger 1, makes a big difference. Most cheap stations rely on a standard 12V car charger that tops out at around 10A, meaning you'd need several hours just to get a meaningful charge. The AC200L's charger can pull up to 560W directly from the vehicle, which translates to a full charge from 0 to 100% in roughly 3.5 hours when the engine is running. In my own road test, I drove a 300-mile stretch, stopped for coffee, and used the alternator to bring the unit from 20% back up to 80% while the engine idled. That speed is a game changer for anyone who wants to stay off the grid without lugging around a gasoline generator. Now, no product is perfect, and the AC200L's strengths come with a few trade-offs you should be aware of before you hand over your credit card. The first practical weakness is weight. At just over 60 pounds, it's not something you can toss into the trunk and forget about. You'll need a sturdy dolly or a pair of strong hands to move it around, which can be a deterrent if you're planning to haul it up and down stairs at a campsite. That said, the heavy-duty construction is part of why it can hold that much energy without overheating, and the integrated handles do make it manageable for most people who have a vehicle with a cargo liftgate. Another consideration is the price point. The AC200L sits in the upper mid-range of portable stations, and you'll notice that the unit itself doesn't include the optional expansion batteries that push the capacity even higher. If you anticipate needing more than a single day's worth of power for multiple hydro appliances, you'll have to buy the B300K modules separately. Those extra batteries add both cost and extra weight, so you need to decide whether the base unit's 2 kWh is already sufficient for your typical use case. On the upside, the AC200L truly shines in its versatility of ports. 11 outlets including 3 AC sockets, a 100W USB-C PD port, traditional USB-A, a 12V car socket, and even a 240V AC input for fast wall charging mean you can run almost anything you'd need on a road trip without juggling adapters. I found the 100W USB-C port especially handy for my drone controller and laptop. It charges at a rate that matches the original charger, which is a relief when you're trying to keep a flight schedule on a tight timeline. The unit also supports a 2400W AC input for rapid wall charging, cutting the recharge time down to about 45 minutes for an 80% charge, a feature that's rarely offered at this capacity level. Who should?